Hello friends, John here. Last video I talked about Black Mirror, and I happened to think, with so many great twist endings, why don't I do a video on the original show I saw with great twist endings? The show I saw as a kid, The Twilight Zone. I have a number of young viewers. I'm going to assume that some or many of them have never seen any of the episodes from the old series, The Twilight Zone, and perhaps have heard of it and wonder what it's about. So I'm going to give some examples of episodes I liked. I went over 5 episodes that I really liked in Black Mirror, so I'm going to just choose 5 episodes of the old Twilight Zone to give you a flavor of what they were about. There are many more episodes of The Twilight Zone than Black Mirror. Black Mirror, I forget the exact number of episodes, in the 20s, less than 30, whereas The Twilight Zone had over 150 episodes. I think it was 156. Some of them were half hour, some of them were hour in length. The Twilight Zone was also an anthology series where episodes varied widely in the nature of what they were about. They differ from Black Mirror that had more of central themes involving some nature technology and were primarily considered sci-fi. Some of the Twilight Zone, I don't know if they're technically considered science fiction. They'd be more supernatural, fantasy. For instance, they included a number of them, the devil or Satan. So I don't think those are technically science fiction. So there's a more variety of the nature of them. Some of them might even just be pure dramatic fiction. Twilight Zone's known for its twist ending, so I'm going to describe some of the episodes I really enjoyed, but I won't give away the ending. So if you want to see them, I'm not going to spoil them, so you can watch them and enjoy them. But I want to give sort of what they're about to see if you might want to watch the series as a whole. My favorite, I didn't even have to think about, is called To Serve Man. Aliens arrive on Earth and they're not typical, start blasting away. They want to take over Earth, kill everything in sight. No, they walk into the UN, communicate telepathically, and they say, we're here to help you out. We're going to give you some technology to make your life easier. You can grow food a lot better. You can produce energy real cheaply. We're going to give you a method to prevent war so you don't have to worry about your neighbors attacking your country, so you can grow and prosper. The alien leaves behind a book. The military gets it and they bring it to a guy to translate, but it's really difficult, and they try and work and they can't make any progress on it. Meanwhile, they take the alien technology. Alien says, you can use it if you want. You don't have to. We're not going to force you to do anything. Use it if you want. Well, people use it and it works out great and everything. Well, the aliens start, you can come back to our planet for vacation because you got a lot of food and medicine and stuff now. You have life of ease. We'll offer you, it's like Las Vegas. What happens on our planet stays on it. You have a good time. You just come. It's an experience you've never had before. So people start going on vacation and all, but there's no free lunch. The people that sign up on things should know, like around salesmen nowadays, hey, sign this thing, we got this free deal, and then when the bill comes due, you get a bill like, hey, I didn't know I was signing up for this. So what is the bill that people are going to be presented with? Well, you're going to have to watch the episode. There is no free lunch. My next episode I'm going to talk about is The Man in the Bottle. Now, this one is one, like I was saying, I don't know if it's really a sci-fi. A guy has a store, a bottle falls over, a genie comes out. Now, when I was a kid, there were many stories and jokes about genies where you ask for something, technically you get what you asked for, but it wasn't really what you wanted. So you weren't specific enough, or is the genie deliberately twisting and finding some way to give you what you want, but it's not what you want? So this was interesting, even though you figure out the general plot. Okay, the genie's going to give him stuff, but how is he going to twist what the guy wants? The guy gets 4 wishes in this one. Lots of the stories heard before was 3 wishes, or jokes it was 1 wish, but this one's 4 wishes. And the guy figures out, hey, I see what you're doing. I see what you're up to. You're giving me what I want, but I wasn't specific enough. So he tries to be more specific. So who's going to be smarter? The genie or the guy? Is he going to be able to put enough conditions and get what he wants? How's it turn out? It was enjoyable. The next episode is Time Enough at Last. And again, I don't know if this is considered a science fiction or not. You'll see as I go along. There's a meat guy that loves reading, and he loves telling people about it. He works at the bank, and he annoys the people. People just want to get their money, check cashed or whatever, and be on their way. He's like, I got to tell you about this book I read. It's really great and this stuff. And the boss comes along and says, you can't keep doing this. You're going to get fired. Do your job and stop telling people about books. Then he goes home and he has a nag of a wife that nags him, doesn't like him reading, hides his magazines and books and defaces them, crosses out parts and all. So he can't get a moment's peace to read his books, constantly getting harassed. But I won't spoil the ending. The next episode called Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. And this stars William Shatner, Captain Kirk, in a completely different role than he usually plays. He plays somebody that had psychological problems. He's really nervous. He's going to be on a plane with his wife. He had treatment for this condition, but he's still afraid to go on the plane. They seen him next to the emergency exit, which is building his anxiety. Now, William Shatner does a really good job acting in this episode, and it's funny to see him in a completely opposite from Captain Kirk that's confident and cocky and everything. And God is a nervous wreck. They start flying, and it's a storm. He opens up the window and sees... What in the world does he see? What is that thing? Apparently, back in World War II, I've read in the past that pilots came up with this legend that when things happened to a plane and there was no explanation why the planes malfunctioned, they invented this story. The gremlins were messing around with the plane. So apparently this is a gremlin. So is William Shatner character, is he crazy? Is the thing actually there? What's the thing up to? Will anybody believe him? You have to watch. The last episode is called The Invaders. It's another alien story. This one, though, is completely different than the first alien story I told you about. A woman's in her house, her isolated house. She's cooking, ready to have her meal, and a spaceship crashes into her attic. It's very small compared to her size. The aliens, do they want to talk? No, they don't want to talk to her. She's not going to talk to them. Right away, they start shooting her with little ray guns. Take a knife out, stab her. They're like little Chuckies. She didn't do anything to them. They just start attacking her. Will she be able to beat them? What are they up to? Will they win? Will they defeat her? Will she get help? Will she be able to defeat them herself? You have to watch. So in conclusion, if you've never seen any of the episodes and heard of them, I would recommend you take a look, especially if you like Black Mirror and things with twist endings. I think you'll enjoy it. But one word of warning, I would look at episodes that are considered classics. So you don't have to look at the ones I recommend. Look at what other people recommend. Look at lists of episodes that are considered classic Twilight Zone episodes. Don't just pick them at random. Some of the episodes are sort of so-so. They had so many, like I said, over 150. And when they went to hour-long, some of them, they just cranked out too many. And as in any anthology, there are maybe some episodes I loved and other people didn't like. But I think some of them were, even at the time, most people thought they were so-so. And some of them may even be dated. And I'll give you an example of one that you don't have to worry about me spoiling the twist ending because there is no twist ending. There is no real ending. A commercial plane is flying and goes through an airstream, jet stream or something, and lo and behold, it finds itself way back in time. So they figure, maybe if we reverse through the airstream, we can wind up back in our own time period. But no, they end up in a different time period. And then Rod Serling, which frequently gave an intro and then an outro speech, just says, I don't know the exact words, but there's a plane lost in time looking for home. And there's no real ending. No twist ending, no ending. And even at the time as a kid, I'm like waiting for a twist ending. I'm like, that's it? I would think today young viewers have seen dozens or more time travel movies would be saying, is that it? I mean, people have seen The Terminator, they've seen Back to the Future, they've seen 12 Monkeys, Days of Future Past, just to name a few that off the top of my head. Marty McFly has a story. He interacts with people in the past and he changes the timeline. There's an interesting story involved with the time travel. Now it's just like, okay, they went back in time, okay? I would think a young viewer may think this. So if that's your first one and you've heard, oh, there's such great twist endings, they might say, that's what they're saying has great twist endings? What in the world is... I don't want to watch anymore. So that's what I'm afraid of. You might see an episode like that and discourage you. Start out with some of the classic ones, and I think you'll really enjoy. There's many, many more than I described that have really great twists that I don't think you'll be able to figure out. So if you have any comments or questions, please leave them. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you.